Hey guys, welcome to the lab where we experiment thoughts and life as we break down and discover our ever growing life as a young adult. Today we have Jasmine, who is a hip hop dancer and a person who, yeah, we're going to talk about it later, but Street Beatz, the only street dance studio in Illawarra. So, hi, Jasmine.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello.
Would you like to give us a basic introduction of who you are, what do you do, and yeah.
Cool. I am Jasmine, everybody. So, I've been teaching for about 10 years now, hip hop specifically. I've I'm located in Wollongong, the Illawarra, and I primarily teach down here, and I have for most of my career. But I do teach in Sydney quite often. Well, that was pre-COVID. I'm up every now and again. But yeah, I'm very passionate about advocacy for women, which is another project that I also do under Ladies Jam. Shameless plug, ladies.jam on Instagram. You can follow us. But other than that, yeah, so I also, well, besides dance, I also work the 9 to 5. I'm an examinations coordinator for the RACP at the moment. And yeah, life is full on, but I am blessed and grateful.
Wow, so many things. Wow.
What's going on?
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Wow. Well, one question that I wanted to ask you before we dive deeply in, if you were a music, what genre would you describe yourself to be?
Ooh. See, that's a funny one. When I was younger, I used to go to like screamo concerts, like mosh pits, you get hurt, the whole shebang. And as I got a bit older, I kind of went into more of like what my parents and my family liked, like hip hop, R&B, blues. But if I had to describe myself as a genre, I would say neo soul.
Oh.
To be
Ooh.
yes,
Neo soul, not just even soul, not just R&B, but neo soul.
yeah, specifically.
Damn.
Mhm.
Wow, why?
Well, I feel like it, although people might see me, might be like, yeah, the hip hop chick or the hip hop lady, I do feel like I move most authentically to music that is within that genre. It's something that I'm very familiar with. Although it was coined not to, sorry, it was coined quite early. Not early, recently, bad English. Recently, I do feel like it's something I've always been around and I find myself moving more to, even though I don't really teach to it, if that makes sense. That was
Mm,
terrible English, but hopefully everyone understands what I
yeah.
said.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, how did you become who you are today? Like as a hip hop dancer, as a person who raises a voice for the women as well. Like how and what shaped you to be who you are?
Hmm. Bullying. Well, if we're going to be real
Okay.
about
Yep,
it.
yep. Wow.
um, yeah, so, well, I got bullied heaps when I was younger. It's not to say that I didn't have, a great group of friends or anything. Like I did. I was very active as a kid. My parents put me into karate, taekwondo. I did Spanish guitar lessons. Like I was a very active kid.
Yeah.
But obviously there are like no I really don't feel like anyone's life is perfect in any way, so
Mm.
I did get bullied quite a lot through primary school, and being a timid kid, I was very different to who I am now. I was very quiet, couldn't
Oh
look
wow.
people in the eye, didn't talk very much, got called names like the very original, like you're from China,
Mm.
because I'm also Maori, so I have family in New Zealand in Aotearoa. I was called kiwi fruit, which is nowadays I'm like, yeah, I love that, love kiwi fruit,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, so a lot of that led to what I want to be as I get older. I
Mm.
kind of feel like I'm not even there yet, and so a lot of bullying and kind of seeing how I was throughout my adolescence as well, has kind of showed me what I wish I had, as a young growing woman, and I'm trying to be who I wish I had back then. someone to aspire to. It's not that I'm doing any of the things that I'm doing because I'm like, I want to be inspirational. I want to be amazing. I want everyone to look up to me. It's not that. It's just creating spaces where we can be who we want to be and not feel judged about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of that, and kind of seeing women in my life not be treated very well. That's not just in my family, it's across friends in different situations. I've been in public transport and workplaces. Yeah, that kind of has shaped me to be who I am today, I guess, in all aspects, not just for women, in humans and people in general. That was a lot. Sorry.
Wow. Nah, I love it. I love it. The more you talk, I love it because I'm like all ears. And like honestly, I've known you when I first came to like Sydney and get to know who
Yeah.
Jasmine is from Wollongong, and but I don't think I've actually got to know about your life and like the story behind who Jasmine is, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've always known her as the dancer, always come
Yeah.
up from Wollongong, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool," because I was always amazed and really fascinated with what you do and who you are as a woman. Because I don't think I was able to see a lot of women really giving impact inside of like society or especially in the industry where we would actually be known as just women who dances rather than raising a voice through our bodies, like expressing our movements, you know? And I think that was really cool about it because you actually, not just verbally, you do definitely have a voice, but through your body and through your movements, your emotions really say so much. And like that's what I really want to know about. Like how did you get to express like what yes, you've mentioned bullying as well and like seeing women being treated not greatly as they should be as a human being, but what influenced you the most in expressing your feelings and not just expressing them, but really how did you get to use your body in what you want to say?
Mm. Wow. Well, firstly, thank you. That was very nice. I think there's obviously like a lot to that. Like I said before, I got bullied quite a lot when I was younger and throughout high school. I was very insecure. And I'm really glad, and you probably noticed this as well, like through social media and just through, I guess, communities, it's less taboo to talk about mental health. It's less taboo to address the elephant in the room.
Mm,
It's less taboo to call people out if they're making you uncomfortable, and you don't have to sacrifice your own well-being at the expense of like, oh, I don't want to cause trouble. I don't want to have any confrontation. We're getting to a point, I feel like, in society where we all have to do better and behave better
yeah.
and just care a little bit more about each other. Um, yeah, I guess it kind of comes down to who I was as a kid and what was like suppressed, I guess, in me. And then it took me like a solid 20 years to
Wow.
fully come out in the way that I envisioned and I feel like I should be. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, there's just like there's so much to it.
yeah, yeah.
I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a
Wow.
lot. I don't really know how to like
Nah. Yeah, I think like like people, like I can't say we, but like people who dances, they move through movements. So rather than like talking it out, they know how to show it out and express to their
Yeah.
bodies. So it's you can't really say that I'm used to talking, I guess, right? It's
Yeah.
different.
No, 100%. And like referring back to what you were saying just about like how I move the way I do. Obviously when people start dancing, I look like my teachers for a very long time. That's just what happens. You copy what they do, you learn from them, you want to be like them because they're so cool.
Yeah.
Um, and as time goes on, you find what you like, what you enjoy, what you're drawn to, and things change. You're influenced by certain things, and that's okay. But I can't really, like you said, I can't really explain it in words, but I guess that I always feel like there's something like in me that's just trying to get out.
Oh
Like
yeah.
coming out, the energy is coming out through my limbs, like a little ball of fire, and it's just like
Mm,
pew, 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 pew. Um, especially when I'm in battles, like I really don't care if I like do well in battles. Like I was more scared and nervous than I
mm,
cared about doing well. And for some people it's a mixture of both. Whereas I really felt like I just wanted to get over that fear and that feeling in me that was pushing me down. And I think that comes back to things in my life that I feel like have suppressed me.
Yeah.
And so I guess pushing myself in a healthy way, um, to do all the things that I wanted to, because I looked at it and thought that was cool and I want to be doing that. But yeah, little fire
Wow.
inside. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Then would you say, like, do you prefer being a freestyler or a performer?
Ooh, okay. So I feel as though within freestyle, there is still a lot of performance involved. So
Mm.
when I train my freestyle or I do freestyle classes with people, I talk a lot about you can't just train all these moves and all this technique and not add the essence of you into it. So it can be
Mm.
really hard to explain because you kind of want to get things down and get technique within whatever like form of dance you're doing down. But if you can't add your personality into it, it is exactly the same thing as everyone else. You are
Mm.
not different in any way unless you come up with like really sick concepts and you can apply them really well. But then again, that's you putting your personality into things.
Wow.
So yeah, so I kind of feel like in my freestyle, I do perform quite a lot. Like I go in with like intention, and I kind of get in this zone of like, okay, this is the vibe. Let's stick with it and ride that wave.
Mm.
But if we're talking like doing showcases, choreography, performances, crew competitions to freestyling, I would probably have to say I prefer freestyling more,
Wow.
but I do enjoy doing choreography with friends.
Mm.
I actually train, and I have trained for years, choreography crews here at Street Beatz.
Yeah.
We've gone to America twice.
Wow.
Yeah, so, for HHI, you've probably heard of it. Yeah, to represent
Damn.
Australia twice. Great experience, loved it. We actually went to Brisbane for HHI Nationals right before lockdown, like literally a few weeks before lockdown.
No.
But we were so lucky though. Like we were full like, oh my gosh, that sucks. But then we kind of thought, well, we are actually so lucky we got to go to Brisbane before we went to lockdown. Like it was the
Yeah.
trip ever. It was so good. It was so needed. And to get my ass on a plane,
Oh.
like on a plane seat. But seriously,
Wow. Yep.
but on the seat was just amazing.
Facts.
Um,
Wow.
That's where I sit. Yeah, I probably have to say freestyling more, only because I feel more free, less pressure.
Yeah.
But I do like performing though. It's fun.
Wow. Wow. I guess like for the listeners, there's a lot of people who might not understand like dance language, what freestyle is and what performing is. Can you like break it down a little bit more easier to the concept of what's the difference with freestyle and performance and why do people keep on saying the word like jam?
Oh, oh, that's so cute. Um, so to listeners out there, so when we refer to things like battles and jams, they are events or can be casual get-togethers, where people come together to kind of showcase themselves as dancers. So for example, there might be a battle which is specifically for the dance form of hip hop. So it's a hip hop battle. Some can be one-on-one, so one person versus the other. It could be 2v2, 3v3. It could be whole crew battles. And there's usually judges involved who will make the decision of who keeps moving up until they have a winner. When it comes to jams, they're way more casual, way more free, way less pressure. There's no prizes, no prize money involved. And it's more just a meet, kind of like a meet and greet, really.
Yeah.
We casually meet other dancers, train with other dancers, exchange with other dancers in a less pressured environment, I guess. It's more about training with other people than kind of showing off, I guess. Not that I think anything's wrong with showing off at a battle. What you got to do, you got to showcase yourself. But yeah, so that's the difference between
Wow.
the two.
Facts. Thank you so much. Like, not gonna lie, like recently, I'm not sure. Have you watched like do you watch Korean like Street Woman Fighter? Have you watched
Okay,
it?
I've watched like snippets of
Okay, yeah.
battles.
As long as you know it. So there are a lot of like people around me who's not dancers, who's not creatives, but like Korea is just like all in for Street Woman Fighter these days, right? And people are like coming up to me because like I used to dance and be like, "Hey, let's jam." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's jam." And then they're like, "No, I just said it because I just wanted to try out and say jam." And I was like, Okay." And
It's like,
then
here's the information, I'm gonna take it back.
And I was like,
Oh,
okay, like, okay, that's cute, but like anytime, whenever you want to, you know? And then it was cute. Yeah.
oh. I would be so sad. I'm like, so you don't want to hang out with me? You don't want to dance with me?
Pain.
Sick.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, hopefully people will now know. I don't think it's very kind to ask someone to jam, but then be like, lol jokes.
Yeah. That's
Maybe,
so true.
maybe don't do that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh, so
Well, I guess being far away, like Australia is like an island, really far away from America or Japan or wherever. Growing up in Australia and like New Zealand and wait, were you born in Australia?
so
New
yeah, I was
Zealand?
born in Australia, but I did live in New Zealand for a little while when I was little as well.
Mm. And then growing up in Australia, how did you find your inspiration to dance? And I guess when living so far away from like so many like resources and international
Yeah.
dancers, how did you get to find out more about like hip hop and dance?
Well, it will have to start with my parents. They're both really into hip hop, R&B. They met at a Spanish club, the whole thing.
Wow.
They were really young. So my mom was like maybe 19 or 20 when she had me. And so like
Wow.
my mom's not even 50 yet, and I'm 28. Like, yeah, I know.
Wow.
Guys, my parents were at the club on Friday night last week. They were at R&B Fridays. You know where I was? I was at home in my bed playing Pokemon Shining Pearl. That's what I was doing. But it will have to
Oh
it'll have to start with them,
my God.
because they always played it around the house. But
Mm.
it but then it was like the movies. You had street dance. You had Honey. You had Step
Oh,
Up. Like Honey, like
yes.
Jessica Alba had me shook. She had me wearing crop tops in my bedroom
Oh
with
my
my
gosh.
stereo that you could only play like CDs and cassettes on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what she had me. And so that's where it started my interest for it. And the movie soundtrack for Honey is amazing.
Oh,
So
so good.
that's what really got me to like really try to want to search this stuff out. And I actually did find a place in my local area that offered hip hop, but it just wasn't what I pictured. And a big part of it, I feel like, was that no one in the room like looked like me.
Mm.
Everyone looked the same in the room, and it's not me bringing down that studio. They were so nice. I remember I didn't feel intimidated, but when the music played and the dance was happening, I was like, this isn't what I saw on Honey. Like
Yeah.
this is not
Yeah.
what it would be. I remember I had a good time, but it just wasn't what it was. It's like when I was doing Taekwondo and I fully cried to my dad, being like, Dad, Taekwondo isn't karate. Like, I've been doing the wrong thing the whole time. Like, how ignorant.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think in my head, I'm like, karate. I hear about karate all the time. And I'm like, why am I doing Taekwondo? They're different. Like,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh
yeah,
wow.
a bit of a joke as a kid. But yeah, so that's kind of where it started. But it's not until I started volunteering at PCYC when I was in
Mm.
high school
Yeah.
that I met some people who knew some people that were starting some classes who were from out of state that came down to live in New South Wales in my region of Illawarra. And then, yeah, that's where it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Then as a dancer, like when you choreograph or when you freestyle, like the first thing that you do is listen to the music. But inside of music, what's the first thing that your ear catches?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
ooh, probably. Okay, I'm a sucker for a real heavy bass. Um, but also lyrics. So lyrics and a heavy bass specifically.
Nice. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Wow.
I'm
Then
like,
like
I'm surprised I did that.
when it comes down to like choreograph, you know how you are given the time to like actually listen to the song and break down the lyrics and yeah, get to know what the song is. Would you rather share a message with the dance that you choreo choreo to, or would you, I don't know, like show more towards like the movement side?
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Um, uh, it's hard because I feel like, for example, there's like a really awesome instrumental track that I love, but
Mm.
when I play it, there's no lyrics to it. But I remember I told my class when I played it once for a while, I'm like, guys, this track has a personality. Like
Mm.
there's no lyrics to it, but there's so much personality in the way they produced it. Because there's a few guys, and I think they met each other through SoundCloud. Because I'm an absolute fan for SoundCloud,
Yeah.
and they did a collab and combined on this track together, and it has a personality, and there's no lyrics, but it just makes me feel a certain way. So yes, that could be like the message part of it, like how it makes me feel and what my feeling is. But I will say there have been times where I've choreographed to something and I've just focused on technique
Mm.
and making sure it just goes with the music. But then that was in my earlier years, but now I'm more moving towards like music comes first and everything else comes second. So what naturally comes out, what it makes me naturally feel, I'm like, oh, that feels good there. That's
Yeah.
what comes first. So I guess it intertwines. It's not too separate, but I
Yeah.
do know what you were saying. But I would have to move towards more of like the message or how it makes me feel.
Wow. Wow. Is there a special like value that you carry out or a specific if you were to if you were to share a story, I guess, or have a message that you would like to share every person that you meet with your movement, would there be a specific message or a value that you would value?
Um, well, I've kind of carried it with me for a few years. And this comes to how I was talking earlier about like feeling suppressed all the time.
Mm.
Um, and that starts from childhood through high school, my early 20s to now not giving. I was gonna put the root finger up, but I'm not gonna do that. To not caring anymore. Um, but I tend to tell people like just feed your soul. Like
Mm.
it sounds a bit lame, and I get why, but I really mean it. Like feed what's in you, and when I visually picture like within me, I'm not thinking like my heart, my organs, my
Yeah.
bones. I'm thinking of like that inner lining like of us. It's like who I am, like your personality. Like if we had to separate who we are as people, I kind of imagine it to be like a little ball of light. Like that's your soul. Like that's you.
Yeah.
And so feed it all the time. Because if you don't, it gets dimmer, it gets dimmer, it gets dimmer. And so if we're not
Mm.
feeding it, how are we meant to be our best selves, you know? So I kind of
Yeah.
just tell people, just feed yourself, feed your soul. And yeah, I kind of carry that with me all the time. I actually plan to get it tattooed along my arm.
Hey, by the
But yes,
way, I love your
yes.
tattoo. Like, it's
Oh,
so freaking beautiful.
wait, which one? The back one or my arm?
Both. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, when I first saw you, because it was like clean, right? And then I saw your pictures and I'm like, what the heck? Like, so
Yeah,
beautiful.
there's a lot going on.
So, did you
There's a
like
lot going
design them yourself or?
on. I tell them what I wanted and I'm very
Mhm.
specific about it. And
Yeah.
then no one get offended by this and they shouldn't, but I only like getting tattooed by females.
Mm.
And so all females have done my tattoos, my back tattoo, my dragon, my clouds and my moon and my stars, the woman's
Wow.
face, the two leaves, which represent my brothers. I've got my brother's names on here. They're all done by women and they're all done by different women.
Wow. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. What's the story behind your back tattoo?
Oh, I have wanted that since I was 14.
Damn.
I know, look at me pre-planning that shit from a young age. I think because
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Japan and its culture for like so long. I did Japanese from year 8 all the way through to my HSC here in
Wow.
Australia. And yeah, I've kind of always dreamt of going. I've always felt like, yes, in within history, obviously geishas, or it's a geisha on my back, a
Mm.
beautiful in history, it's been read out that obviously as time went on throughout the war, geishas were referred to as prostitutes, like the whole shebang. But when I kind of look at it in a different way, I've always looked at them like, well, they were so strong. Like they did what they had to do to survive, like with, if I'm keeping it within context and stuff like that. And so it's kind of just re-looking at women, and even nowadays, those who are in the sex industry are frowned upon, especially within Asian culture. It's
Mm.
very much frowned upon. To be revealing in any kind of way is frowned upon. And I kind of look at it as, no, you are all wrong, wrong, wrong,
Mm.
wrong. And just kind of flip the script on how we view it. I think they're beautiful. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's beautiful, and I think that's a big reason why I got it. Is it makes me feel strong, like
Mm.
makes me feel really fierce, and I'm like, I feel like a bad bitch with that on my back. Like it's like got two in one, like got one on the
Mm.
back and one in the front.
Facts. Not gonna lie, it makes you have a stronger character. I think I'm not gonna say
Oh
like the
really?
tattoo definitely made you stronger, but I feel like it's definitely added you character where it makes you feel I the word fierce comes to me when I first like see you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That could be a scary thing, it could be a nice thing.
Nice thing. Like don't mess with me kind of vibes.
Oh, don't worry. Like one of my best friends, Tiffany, she literally told me, she's my best friend now, but
Mm.
she literally told me, yeah, when I first met you, you looked like a stone cold B word. Like you looked so scary. Because
Damn.
I'm being honest, I did not put much thought into how I appeared. Like I was very lazy with my face. I just like all the time. Honestly, like I didn't think too much about it. And then I kind of realized how much it can impact people and my
Mm.
energy. And so I made way more of a conscious effort to like sit upright and just make eye contact with people and smile,
Yeah.
because I hate the idea of making people uncomfortable. I was like, bad, bad,
Uh,
fix it. Like, well, I wanted to make friends, and I can't
mm.
do that if I look like a scary bitch.
Wow. Oh, you don't look scary. Definitely not at all. But you have that
Not now.
strong character inside you. Hey.
I think I'm improving. I'm trying to get better.
That's good. As long as we try. Well, speaking of like women as well, Ladies Jam. You're the founder of Ladies Jam, and yeah, what definitely is the story behind and the purpose behind Ladies Jam?
Um, so I actually was on a podcast recently with Kieran from Buggy Bumpers, and I couldn't really remember why it started, but in 2019, Destructive Steps is one of the biggest comps down here in Australia, and there's a section called Ladies Night, which is my favorite event of any year. I love it so much. And that's run by Alice, Amelia, and their team. So that was coming up, and I knew there was some people, some ladies who flew in from interstate or from overseas, like the judges, for example. And so I kind of thought, hey, anyone want to train before the comp this weekend? And so
Mm.
literally I just put a little event on Facebook. I'm like, hey, ladies, want to meet up at like 6 p.m. at ICC under the bridge on Wednesday, or I don't know what day it was. And then,
Mm.
yeah, like 20 people rocked up. It was hectic. Like 20 ladies rocked up, and then we had conga lines at one point.
Wow.
We had like chats, activities. Like it was really hectic. And it was just really nice. And I think I didn't realize at the time how important that was to me and to other people. And so we brought it back in full force this year. Oh, and I
Wow.
think, did I do one last year? I really don't remember. I'm at volume 4 at the moment.
Mm.
I don't really remember how many I've done or when they were. I kind of
Wow.
do it and then I rest. Do the next one
Wow.
and I rest. So we try to do it bi-monthly now. I'm trying to make sure I keep up with it.
Mm.
And yeah, so it kind of just started with a jam, like we are talking about.
Wow.
And now it's a full-fledged thing. So it's going to be every 2 months, regardless of what's going on. It's going to happen, whether it be online or in person. Yeah, so I guess not realizing how important it was, then learning how important it was, and sticking with it.
Wow. Wow. That's so amazing. Wow. Not only ladies jam, like street beats as well. Like, I'm just gonna ask you straight away, like, how did street beats come to become street beats? Like, I know it's the only street dance in all Illawarra as well, but was it you and your friends, or you and just you? And like, how did street beats came alive?
Yeah. And so it's funny because I feel like a lot of people don't really know and they kind of just know we've been around for ages.
Yeah.
So Brooke and Don are married. And so Don's from Sydney and Brooke was from Queensland originally. And she moved down here from Queensland and they eventually met because they were both dancing. So they've been dancing since they were like kids. And then eventually they met. Eventually we're dating, and then he moved down here to be with her and be me her family. And so they started Street Beats. I think were they dating at the time?
Mm.
Not really sure. But anyway, and so they started some classes, and that's where when I was volunteering at PCYC, I heard from a mutual friend, so I went, and literally the rest is history. I met two other guys who are the same age as me at the class. You know, these two Asian guys with really teeny bopper hair, long fringes, like the
Yeah.
whole shebang. This is like 10 years ago. Um, and no, like literally, that is it. It was like dream team. So it's Brooke, Don, me, Bubbles, and Johnny. And we've been literally with Street Beats for the past 10 years. So since our first class, we haven't stopped. And we've been like the team that just, yeah, which I think is special because you don't really see many teams who've been together for like a solid 10 years or more. And
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. So we eventually had some students who have become teachers now. And that's just like an ongoing process. But the main five has always been Brooke, Don, myself, Johnny, and Bubbles. Yeah.
Wow.
And you just gotta stay together. So
Yeah.
through all the hard stuff and through thick and thin, and even as we get older, people have kids, people move, change jobs, the whole thing. This has always been like a base as well. And yeah, it's always like home away from home, you know?
Yeah. Wow, that's so beautiful because like I've always known that you were like doing a dance studio there as well and never got to actually understand the story and like how it came to be, and it's so beautiful how like friends can just do something like that and just stay strong, because so many of them, like if you're, especially if you're in a team, you break down so much and it's really hard to be together like thick and thin, but wow.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's not to say that we haven't had tribulations or we haven't had issues. Like, it's just, I think it's also a choice. Like, are we going to choose to work through this together? Are we all going to try and be our best selves? And sometimes it is really hard. But I
Mm,
guess you have that common goal and
yeah.
you hold yourself accountable, know where we all have to do better and work together. I think that's really important.
Mm,
But yeah, I just don't want to paint this picture like everything's perfect because it's not. And that's like, that's the point of it. That's how you grow. Like, how are you meant to learn anything if you keep succeeding, if you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you got to have the mistakes, you got to have the hard lessons because you will never learn if you don't fail at stuff.
Yeah, 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 that's
But
so true. Wow. I guess like because everyone had the common heart, like the love for dance, that it was always at the bottom of the day, dance is always there. So you would always
yeah,
reunite no matter what.
yeah, 100%. And we
Wow.
tell it to our students all the time because obviously we have kids who do their HSC who are in year 12, going to uni and all that stuff or working. We always, like, I always tell them, dance doesn't go anywhere. Your exams that you're doing for this period of your life right now, either is going to happen once or you're going to be so stressed out that you're going to have to do them another 2 times. So,
Mm,
like, prioritize and just see that nothing, you're not leaving anything behind. It'll always be here. And
yeah.
so I guess as we go through like life, whatever stepping stone, I guess, that you go through, dance is always around, friends. Doesn't go
Wow.
anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's so important for real. when it comes,
Mm.
like for me personally, when I had my accident and could no longer dance anymore, it was when Jan was here in Sydney and we were just
Oh,
like,
really? Wow.
Jan,
Well
yeah,
done.
because I had a car accident when I was young, but kept on dancing and then came to Sydney and gave it another go. And then I thought it would be okay, but then my body just like shut down. And then I was like, Jan, I don't think I can dance no more. Help me on knee. And she was like, hey, dance is not going to go anywhere. Once a dancer is always a dancer. Don't forget that. I was like, but I can't move my body. Like, how can I call myself a dancer if I can't move anymore? And she was like, no, like, don't forget, like, once you're a dancer, you're always going to be a dancer. And I was just like, I didn't understand that at that time because I was so young and I was like, if I can't move my body, like how am I supposed to be a dancer, you know? But for real, like if you love something so much, I don't think it'll ever go away because it's not what you do that justifies you. It's just what you are with it. And for real, you live
100%.
it.
No,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, actually, such a good way to put it. Like you literally live it. Like when people ask me questions like, how do you describe your dance? I'm like, do you want me to give you adjectives? Do you want me to show you? Like, it's just awkward sometimes because I do still get a bit shy sometimes. But
Mm.
exactly what Jan was saying, like that's so right. And I know a girl from Canberra who actually had surgery on her knee,
Oh,
and
wow.
so obviously that would have been like a really hard time. So she actually picked up whacking whilst she was recovering because she couldn't use her lower half. Yeah, so
Wow.
she whacking whilst she was recovering. And literally now I honestly think she's one of the best down in Canberra.
Wow.
Like it's nuts. Um,
Wow.
and just finding ways that you can incorporate, you know, movement into
Yeah.
everything else, doing the laundry, doing
Mm.
the dishes,
That's so
household.
true. That's so true. That's when you train. Like that's when you know when you're at home doing the laundries or just watching TV. Like that's when you know when it comes out.
100%. Always. It never
That's so
goes away. You
mm,
can have spikes of feeling motivated and not. I don't like to call it laziness because, yeah, I think there's a big difference between actual lazy. Sorry, I keep going out of the shot. I'm like, laziness, there's no hand. Between laziness, I'm giving up. Laziness and also just needing to rest yourself spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. Because I think there's such a difference. And I've learned not to push myself to do things if I'm not in a space to do it. Because if you
yep.
keep pushing yourself, you're never going to know when to stop. And that's when you're going to just fall off. And so
Mm,
that self awareness, as well as you do need to look after yourself. And exactly what Yon was saying, dance doesn't go anywhere, but this is the one body you have. You got
yeah.
to look after it.
Facts. Damn. Well, I feel like you're a pioneer in dance, especially like down in Wollongong as well. And as a pioneer and also as a woman, what was the biggest struggle you had to go through whilst being in Australia or being in the dance industry?
Um, Not feeling good enough, I think, is something that we all go through. Like we all probably don't realize how similar of insecurities that we all have. Like let's just say we made like an Excel spreadsheet with like a checklist of all the insecurities we could possibly think of. Like if you and I probably filled it out, we would probably have very similar ones, and we would be like, no, like we're so confident, look at us doing this thing right now. And people
Mm,
wouldn't believe us, but then when they look at the results of what we selected, they'd be like, whoa, she feels that way. And I think it's also that, women are meant to be strong, women to push through everything. And, like even with childbirth, like that is your role, that is your job to do for us to sustain the economy. Like
mm,
there's just so much responsibility put on us. And I think taking back that power, we will always have power.
mm,
I know that some people may feel there are times that we do not have that
yep.
power, and it's a choice sometimes. It will always be in there. It's a matter of like what is around us.
Yeah.
That's us. So you kind of probably hear things like, this doesn't serve me, or like this is a toxic environment that I'm in. Like all these little things contribute to like suppressing, that power, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And that kind of links back to everything that I do and everything that my tattoo on my back means to me and stuff, because it's like we always have to be fighting for the top spot, and I kind of don't feel that way. I'm like, let's just stop the leaderboard,
Yeah.
got into that moment. Let's just find a space where we feel comfy, find friends that make us feel good and who don't gaslight us and all that stuff. You know, I've stopped talking to lots of people because I kind of felt like you don't serve me. And it's not that I think that they're terrible people at all. It's just we're not on the same wave. We're on different journeys in the same ocean, but different waves, different boats, the whole thing. So I guess lots of learning, lots of experiences and situations I've been in, which I don't want to be in, and then learning. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I try to follow pages and fill my social media with things that kind of engage my thinking and get me to reflect, things that inspire me, and try to change the algorithm so I get less crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
wow.
think, yeah, kind of like what you are, what you consume sometimes. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I love good like 20 minutes on TikTok looking at some puppies and babies. Like I don't mind that, you know, or some memes and jokes. But I do think it's important that we are what we consume. And I try to be careful of what I consume and not give attention to things that I feel like do not deserve my attention. That sounds a bit slack, but I think we got to give less time to like haters, to misogynists, to people who just want to argue for the sake of arguing.
Yeah. That's so
Right, that was a lot.
facts. No, like especially as a woman, like if you put yourself out there in social media, there's so many people who just gives you crap for no reason. And if you don't know who you are, if you don't have self-confidence or self-awareness of what you do and who you are, like you're just gonna be there sinking yourself in depression and just going down that loophole again and again. And so for sure, like you gotta be aware of what you consume 100%.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, I know. Internet is crazy.
It is. Man, I feel like I tell this to like my kids as well all the time. It's always like I feel so old, but social media is just dangerous and I feel old because I don't want to follow the trend, but you need to in order to engage with the kids as well sometimes. But man, it's so much.
100%. And I'm lucky that a lot of my students who are like teenagers, they keep me up to date. And
Facts.
we tend to like the same music. Like my little brother's 13, like we like the same stuff. And so like he kind of keeps me on track too, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so I think all of that probably summarizes it pretty well. Still learning, still trying to be better and fix behaviors that I learn every week. Like there's something I need to fix or make sure that I think about before I do something. And it's not that I want to be like tiptoeing through life. It's just I go with it. I don't want to offend people. I don't want to be rude, and I want to be just a good person from the get-go. So if I can learn all these things and be mindful, then like why not?
Yeah. Wow. What's the name of a book that you're currently reading, if you don't mind me asking?
I would actually recommend. So it's awesome and like really, how do I say? I find it interactive because she's a personality. So you've probably heard of her or anyone listening, Flex Mummy. So she has you can actually get it online as a not a podcast, as a
Audible?
online book. Yeah, Audible. So it's called The Success Experiment. And so I find it really interesting. It's like her journey with self-betterment and stuff. And she's just a vibe. She's an energy. And I really do enjoy her content. And I do learn a lot from her, just from following her on social media. That's what I mean. Like pick and choose who you follow and who you consume.
Facts. Wow. Wow. Damn. Well, I will definitely give a go at who that person is and what she
I
says.
love it.
For sure. Hey, well, as a dancer, is there anything that you wish to see more of inside of Australia's industry?
Inclusivity, I guess, in the way that people interact with people who aren't directly in their community. It's kind of like if you're a new person coming into the street dance scene and you go to an event or a battle and you don't know anyone, be
Mm.
that person that notices and is like, hey, are you new around here? Do you know anyone? No, cool. All right, well, um, you can come sit with me and my people, and then we'll show you what this is. Because I used to be that person that would go and not know anyone and kind of like sit there and like be really anxious and not want to be there, but also I wanted to be there so bad that I made myself go.
Yeah.
Um, Thankful that I did that, but also realized how stressful that was on my body to
Mm.
do all those things. But I guess more inclusivity, more thoughtfulness, I guess, in just being equitable with castings, which obviously is happening a lot more now, but it sucks that it's more, sometimes it can feel like it's more to make sure that people look accountable than actually feeling like you should be.
Yeah.
It's all like face sometimes. I noticed with some companies. And yeah, I guess that's kind of where it is. I'd love to see more street dancers be in commercial jobs, like having that avenue to not have to go through commercialized spaces. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. I have heaps of friends who do it. It's just because we're not certified in that
Yeah.
particular way with the certificate in like dance or anything, um, there is less opportunities unless you're one of the people that tends to do really well at battles and events and you're popping on social media.
Mm.
um, then again, like it is the hustle. People do create opportunities for themselves. It's like knowing people from companies or other studios who can help you get jobs and stuff like that. But I guess I'd love for a lot of us to just be doing more work and getting out there and having more music video like opportunities and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I see a lot of Aussies going overseas for work like that, but I'd love to see that work be here in
Oof.
Australia and feel accessible, because sometimes when you're in the street dancing, it kind of feels unreachable, but it's really not. Like you just got to find the spaces and find the agents that, can help you pave that way for yourself. But
Mm.
yeah, I feel like there's still lots to learn, but I'd love to see more jobs be accessible and equitable and show more than just one skin color.
Yeah. Yes. Facts. Oh yeah.
That would be
Wow.
great.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Well, if it wasn't for dance, what would it be for you? If not dance, then what?
I'd probably be doing something to do with like history, probably.
History.
Uh, yeah, I know. It sounds really random. And
Oh my
yeah, I
God.
know. I don't look like it. I know.
Are you
I'm just,
like, do you like history?
yeah, I loved it. Loved it.
Wow. Sorry.
I
I don't understand history. That's why I'm just so amazed. Like,
well, no,
wow.
I'll amaze you even more. I was in advanced geography. Like, why?
Geography?
I like what? Um,
Wow.
I
Wow.
Yeah, don't know. But yeah, I'll probably history, because at one point I was like, I've always loved dinosaurs, a bit random, a bit random, and so like I fully like bought books on archaeology and did the whole like
Damn.
Egypt, like the whole thing, and I loved it, and I loved knowing how the world came to be. Even though as I get older, I learned that a lot of it was colonization and a lot
Mm.
of history hidden. And a lot of history was painted in a way that made certain people, certain countries look a certain way, when in reality it was the other way around.
Mm.
And yeah, it's nuts. As we progress in society, we learn that a lot of things in the past and in books was a bunch of crap. But I would probably be in somewhere in history.
Wow.
Museum curator sounds about right for me.
Damn.
Yeah,
I can see
it's like
that.
mm,
Wow.
yeah, if I had
Wow.
to pick. Sorry, I'm just quickly going to press a button that's right there that turns
Yeah.
the aircon off because I am freezing. Yeah, back.
All goods. Well, as much as it is time, I have one last question to ask you.
Go
Is
ahead.
there anything you would like to leave behind in the lab before you go?
Ooh, I actually love that, by the way. Like when I saw like the vibe and like the aesthetic, I was like, this is so cool. It
Ah,
reminds me of
thank
the
you.
Matrix.
Oh yes, that was what I was going for.
Oh,
Because
that's
like
actually good.
I was doing like coding these days, and so I was like, hey, might as well just put in some coding fields, and so
Oh my
yeah.
God. No, I love it. That's really cool.
Thank you.
If I had to leave anything behind, do your research, learn about history in dance as much as you can and about cultures that created this. You would be surprised to find that a lot of it can be indigenous. It can be, you know, I guess there's just so much we think we know that we don't know, is what I'm trying to say. So do as much research as you possibly can. That'd be awesome. Don't forget to look after yourself mentally, because I guess we have one body and sometimes we push it to the limits and then it's hard to recover and we put ourselves in bigger setbacks. So look after yourself, put yourself as number one. Um, don't be afraid to talk to people who look like they're lost or they don't
Hey,
know anyone. Um, you kind of forget how much power you have as a person and the potential we all have to like make someone's day. And so just by complimenting someone or just saying hi makes a big difference.
yeah,
And I think I'll leave it at that. That was a lot. I'm asking everyone to do a
no,
lot.
they should be. You gotta listen to Jasmine's word for word. Yeah, but that
Okay.
is true. I'm not gonna lie, like history, I'm not really good at history, never understood it properly because I was never a big reader. But
Yeah.
like when you do your research, it definitely hits you hard because it's facts. And knowing your history is knowing your roots. And knowing your roots, it's knowledge. And that's what you
Yeah.
need as a person. Just know where you come from to understand who you are and what you do.
Yes, that was a perfect summary. I was like,
Ah,
yes,
thank
yes.
you. Well, thank you so, so much for joining me and the listeners in the lab today, Jasmine.
No, thank you for having me. Sorry, I'm a bit jittery. I'm like, ooh, this is nerve-wracking. It says recording in the top corner.
Sorry if I intimidated you, but
No, no, no,
loved every word that you've said.
oh, thank you.
It
It was
was,
very nice convo. It's good to see you, by the way. I
yeah.
just feel like I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, right? I think the last time was it when Baby Sleep came?
I think I did see you a bit after that. When you competed at Battlegrounds, you were in a crew in all red.
Romans. Wait,
Yeah,
was that after Baby Sleep came?
I think that might have been after. Yeah.
Wow, that feels like that's history.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, I remember you, like, when
Wow.
you're helping with Baby Sleep, and then I also remember when you were actually dancing. So when you were telling me all this, I was like, wow, nuts.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of things have happened.
Yeah, I feel it.
Wow. Well, hopefully I can see you like when you come up to Sydney or if I go down to Wollongong, like hopefully to catch up and see you in person next time.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, like seriously, we'll plan something for like towards the end of the year. I will admit, I have no weekends from this weekend till the end of the year. I know I'm not looking forward to it, but I will see you sometime soon. I'll let you know when I come up to Sydney.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in again. Thank you for all the listeners who's listening to this podcast. Definitely go find Jasmine. Her Instagram is at, if you don't mind me sharing.
Oh no, girl, that's a good dude.
You can find her at Jasmine underscore Marae. Is that how you say it?
So you have to roll the tongue on the R because my middle name is Maori, so it's Marae.
Marae.
Yes.
Wow, that's so beautiful, Marae. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, go find her, follow her. She's an amazing woman. And go support Ladies Jam at ladies dot jam on Instagram. So yeah, and if you want to know more about the guests who popping up next, you can find us on Instagram at leave it all behind underscore lab. See you all in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Good, thank you. That was really fun. I think it was just good to see you as well.
Facts, 100%. So much energy that I receive from you. Wow.
Thank you. All
Wow.
good. But
All
I
the
do.
best.
Thank you so much. I was like, I gotta pop off now. I got work to do in the next 20 minutes, but I will talk to you soon though. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Enjoy your dinner as well.
Thank you. I will. I'll talk to you soon though.
Bye.